Getting approved for the Google Ad grant can feel like the finish line. In truth, it is the starting line. The grant gives an eligible nonprofit up to 10,000 US dollars a month in-kind search advertising. That is not cash, and it is not a government subsidy. It is free advertising space donated by Google that lets your ads appear when people search for the kind of help your cause provides. And like anything worth having, it comes with conditions. Miss them quietly for a month or two, and the account can be paused with little warning. Keep them month after month, and you hold on to one of the steadiest sources of free visibility a small charity can have. This video is about that second path, the ordinary housekeeping that keeps the grant active once it is yours. Nothing dramatic, nothing technical beyond what one careful person can handle in about an hour a month. One honest note before we begin. This channel is educational only. I am not affiliated with or endorsed by Google, and nothing here is an official partnership, legal advice, or compliance advice. The ad grant rules change over time, so please treat everything here as background, and always confirm the current details on Google's official ad grants policy pages before you rely on them. Why compliance matters at all. Before we get into the specific rules, it helps to understand why they exist, because that makes the whole thing far easier to remember. Google is giving away a large amount of advertising for free, and it wants that space used well, on real campaigns that genuinely serve a mission, rather than left to run on autopilot or pointed at vague, low-value searches. So the rules are less a set of traps and more a description of what a healthy, active account looks like. Nearly every requirement we will cover is really asking the same thing in a different form. Is this account being looked after by a human? Is it sending people somewhere useful? And is it clearly tied to your charitable work? If the answer stays yes, compliance mostly takes care of itself. The account does not have to be clever or large. It has to be tended. A grant account that is checked once a month, kept tidy and pointed at meaningful searches will almost always stay in good standing. The ones that get paused are usually the ones nobody has opened since the day they were approved. It also helps to remember that the grant is a gift, not an entitlement. Google can and does review these accounts, and it reserves the right to pause or remove access when the terms are not met. That is not a reason to feel anxious every month. It is simply a reason to keep the small routine going, because a well-kept account almost never runs into trouble. So think of what follows not as a list of hoops, but as the short routine that keeps a living account alive. The 5% click-through rule. The requirement people worry about most is the click-through rate, so let us take it plainly. Your grant account is expected to keep a click-through rate of at least 5% each month, measured across the account. Click-through rate simply means the share of people who, having seen your ad, actually click it. If 100 people see your ad and 5 click, that is 5%. Fall below that line for 2 months in a row, and the account can be temporarily deactivated, though it can usually be reactivated once the underlying problem is fixed. 5% sounds daunting until you see what causes a low number, because it is almost always the same thing. Ads pointed at broad, generic searches get shown to people who are looking for something else, so they scroll past and your rate sinks. Ads pointed at specific searches that match what you actually do get clicked far more often, because the person searching genuinely wanted what your ad offered. So the click-through rule is not really about writing clever ads, it is about relevance. The tighter the match between the words people search and the help you provide, the healthier this number stays on its own. When we get to keywords in a moment, you will see that most click-through problems are keyword problems wearing a different mask, conversion tracking that actually counts. The next requirement is one that quietly trips up accounts that otherwise look fine. Google expects a grant account to have valid conversion tracking in place and to be recording real meaningful conversions rather than nothing at all. A conversion is simply a worthwhile action someone takes after clicking your ad. It might be making a donation, signing up as a volunteer, joining your email list, or completing a contact form. The point of tracking it is to prove that the free advertising is doing something for your mission, not just sending clicks into the void. There are 2 things to get right here. First, the tracking has to be set up correctly, so that when someone completes one of those actions, the account records it. If the tracking is broken, the account looks empty, even when it is working, and that can put your standing at risk. Second, the conversions you count should be genuine. Do not mark every page view as a conversion just to inflate the number, because that defeats the purpose and can cause problems of its own. Pick the actions that truly matter to your cause and track those honestly. One quiet but important note on this. Conversion tracking touches supporter data, so handle it responsibly. Collect only what you need and follow the privacy rules that apply to you, including Singapore's data protection obligations, so that measuring your results never comes at the cost of a supporter's trust. Keywords that keep you eligible. Now we reach the heart of most compliance trouble, which is keywords, the words and phrases that tell Google when to show your ads. The grant program has specific expectations here, and they are worth learning once. First, single-word keywords are generally not allowed, apart from a short list of exceptions such as your own brand name or certain approved terms. A single word like help or support is far too broad. It invites clicks from people who wanted something completely unrelated, which is exactly what drags your click-through rate down. Second, overly generic keywords are discouraged, even when they are more than one word. A phrase like free videos or good cause tells Google almost nothing about who should see your ad. Third, the program expects your keywords to keep a reasonable quality level. Keywords that consistently perform very poorly can be flagged, and you are expected to keep your account tidy by pausing or improving them. The thread running through all of this is the same relevance we met earlier. Reach for specific descriptive phrases that name what you actually do and who you serve, something a real person would type when they genuinely need your help. Those keywords attract the right clicks, protect your 5%, and keep you inside the program's rules all at once. Vague keywords do the opposite on every count, so a good monthly habit is simply to scan for anything too broad and tighten it. A useful test is to ask whether a real person in real need of your help would ever type that phrase into a search box. If you cannot picture them doing it, the keyword is probably too generic to keep. Staying active and staying on mission. The last two requirements are the easiest to meet and the easiest to forget. The first is activity. A grant account is expected to be genuinely looked after, which in practice means logging in regularly, at least once a month, and making real thoughtful changes to the account over time rather than letting it run untouched. An account nobody visits looks abandoned, and abandoned accounts are the ones that get paused. The second is that your campaigns must stay mission-based. The whole grant exists to promote your charitable work, so your ads, your keywords, and the pages you send people to should all clearly connect to your cause. You cannot use the grant to drive traffic for a commercial venture, to sell space to someone else, or to point at pages that have nothing to do with your mission. The program also expects a basic level of structure, such as running proper campaigns with more than one ad group, more than one ad, and sensible links, all of which simply reflect an account that has been set up with care. None of this is hard. It just needs a person who opens the account each month, makes a small sensible improvement, and keeps everything pointed squarely at the mission. Do that, and both requirements are met almost by accident. Your simple monthly checklist. Let us turn all of that into something you can actually do, because the rules only feel heavy when they live as a vague worry rather than a short routine. Once a month, block out about an hour and walk through 5 quick checks. 1. Log in so the account is never left untouched. 2. Look at your click-through rate for the month and confirm it is comfortably above 5%. And if it is not, find the broad keyword or weak ad dragging it down. 3. Confirm your conversion tracking is still recording real actions like donations or signups, because tracking can quietly break. 4. Scan your keywords for anything single word or too generic and tighten or pause it. 5. Make one small genuine improvement, perhaps a better ad line or a new specific keyword, so the account stays clearly active and on mission. That is the whole routine. 5 checks, once a month, roughly an hour. It is far less work than earning the grant in the first place, and it is what separates the charities that keep their free advertising year after year from the ones that lose it to simple neglect. Quick recap. Let us pull it together. The Google Ad Grant is generous but conditional, and staying compliant is mostly about keeping the account healthy and human. Hold a click-through rate of at least 5% by pointing your ads at specific relevant searches. Keep valid conversion tracking in place and record real actions that matter to your mission, while handling supporter data with care. Choose keywords that are specific and descriptive, and avoid single-word and overly generic terms. Stay active by logging in each month and making genuine improvements, and keep every campaign clearly tied to your charitable purpose. Then wrap the whole thing in a simple monthly checklist so none of it depends on memory. And because the program's rules do change, never take a video as the final word. Always confirm the current requirements on Google's official ad grants policy pages before you act. None of this asks for a marketing team or a technical background. It asks for an hour of attention a month and a habit of keeping your account specific, honest, and active. Do that, and the grant stops being a thing you might lose and becomes a quiet, dependable source of visibility for your cause, renewing itself month after month for as long as you tend it. If this made the rules feel manageable rather than mysterious, subscribe for practical charity marketing you can actually use, and I will keep turning it into plain, doable steps, one video at a time.